Hello, everybody. This is Battlefield Podcast, episode 136. I'm your host, Ola, aka Chalk1. And alongside with me this week, we've got sort of an old school panel. Everybody from the very beginning of Battlefield Podcast and the people who have been involved with it for many, many years. I'll start off with, I guess, what would be my left if we were physically in the real world, actually. We got Tim, aka Darkness429.
You guys.
And we also have, of course, we have Hequan, a.k.a. Chalk2.
Hey, guys.
And we also have Sean, a.k.a. Judgment Day 61.
Hey, it's good to be with you guys tonight.
Where does the 61 come from, by the way? I've always wondered that.
Well, when we came into Battlefield 3, I couldn't use just Judgment Day, and it couldn't be transferred over, so I had to come up with something new. And I'm not going to say that 61 has to do with when I was born, but
well, at least as long as it's not your age, then that's all right.
It's okay. Yeah.
Nah, just 10 years from it.
All right. Well, I guess one of the things we should mention right off the bat of the show, you won't see it actually in this stream, but Tim's been working pretty hard on a new logo for us, and it's sort of a new, I don't know, supplemental logo, I guess. We have two. Like, we have the microphone logo that you can see way past Tim on the other side there that we've used for a long time, but it's a bit awkward on smaller things like avatars, little square boxes. It doesn't scale down all that nicely. So I should have thought of this. I have it in the show notes that I was going to mention it, but I don't even have a picture of it. But you can pretty much see it on our Twitter page, twitter.com/bfpodcast, or at battlefieldpodcast.com. And good work. I know you've been working hard at stuff like that lately, so.
Yeah, a lot of graphic stuff done, so it looks pretty.
It does look pretty, and it gives us the flexibility.
Yeah, I've noticed that now that he's married, he has all kinds of free time.
Burned.
All right, why don't we jump right into a little bit of news then?
And now for the latest Battlefield news.
For those of you that are watching live at twitch.tv/battlefieldo, you know, of course, that we are working alongside battlefieldo.com, not only for this stream, but also to post the episodes on their site. And it's a great team of guys and gals over there. And they just came out with the third, I believe, revision of their website design. It's called Battlefieldo 3.0. And it was created, I believe, Mass Nerder was part of that group, Epona, of course, all the designers there. And if you haven't seen it yet, and if you haven't seen Battlefieldo.com, who hasn't, but if you haven't seen the new design, check it out. It looks pretty sweet. I quite like it.
Yeah, it's nice.
It is. And of course, the Battlefield gameplay-related news is that, you know, and this is a little bit behind. This is a couple days ago that they released a server-side patch, which is nice to see. These are changes for Armored Kill in particular. Mm-hmm. And I think what I've quite enjoyed, actually, they've made a few tweaks, mostly to the gunship and some other things, but they've made them pretty quickly, which is nice.
Yeah.
We haven't had to wait. We used to have to wait forever.
No, they were paying attention to what the community was crying out for, and they were really quick to turn around. Sometimes we have to wait a while for them to make any type of to changes to gameplay, but this happened within 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think any time that they can make changes where they don't have to patch the client, it's just a lot faster when they can just make those changes there. And most of these balance tweaks are based around the gunship, which was a little off balance to begin with. Now, we're going to talk about the gunship in more detail later on in the show. So, and some of our opinions may be based on the pre-patch gunship version. I've used it a few times since the patch, but haven't really had a chance to fully play around with it as much as perhaps I should have. But basically, I guess the real issue was that it was twofold. That on the one hand, the gunship was too easy to kill, and it was also too powerful. So it's sort of weird polar opposite problems that both existed at the same time. But so they've tweaked that. One of the ways they've done it actually is that stationary and mobile AA cannon damage has been reduced by 30% versus the gunship. Which
is great.
Well, they used to be able to just take that gunship down from pretty much anywhere on the map.
Yeah, I think Bandar Desert's a good example of that. The Russian base, their static AA just is, when it passes by on the beach, it's very easy for it to be taken down in one pass. So that was very frustrating.
What was the other thing
But
that
some
they
of the players still has that aim, to take down the gunship. Anyways, I tried to take one of them down today, and I'll be able to hit it about 500 meters, 600 meters away. I was hitting
pretty far.
it once or twice. Yeah, so they still have that sniper. I don't know how they do it though. Practice.
Well, there's that, of course, but the other thing, jets used to be able to take down in one run at it if they were decent pilots. If they're like me, you'd get a couple shots at it and then crash into it, and that never worked out too well.
Yeah,
So.
they were able to almost come straight vertical, and slow down, and just hit the underbelly where there's a huge blind spot for the gunners, and they would just kill it in one pass. They'd unload on guns and unload a rocket pod set, and it was done. So I'm glad that they definitely tweaked the damage on that, because I think that'll keep the gunship up a little bit longer than what it normally is up for.
Yeah, they didn't do much about the blind spot, and I don't think that they really
No, which
can.
is still really frustrating, because I would love if there was like one turret on top and one turret underneath to hit the guys who are like the helicopters and whatnot. They're able to come up underneath it and shoot. That gets very frustrating.
Let's see. Now, the other thing that they did was they changed the delay before moving the gunship forward to a new base in rush mode, and that's been increased from 15 to 30 seconds. And they said that the rationale, I guess, was that the gunship used to be able to move so quickly towards the new base that you could actually paradrop from it and get to the base as an attacker before defenders would really have a chance to fall back.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a big tactic for when you lose your first set. It gives you enough time to regroup and reset up and set up your defense positions and something like that. That would you have a gunship that's already on top of you before you're even in place. That's no fun.
Let's see. They also made some more tweaks to gunship spawn times in rush mode. I guess that's the original spawn time when it starts, or after it's been destroyed. That went up from 90 to 120 seconds. Now, in rush mode, can people not control the respawn time? Like, I know in Conquest there's some servers with instant respawn, and the gunship just, it appears
it's
again
just-
instantly. I guess in rush you can't configure that on the server, huh?
I'm not sure. I've never seen the Archon for that.
Yeah, I haven't even played it in rush mode, so I heard it not good, but I stay with Conquest or Team Deathmatch.
I think I've actually enjoyed Armor Kill more with Rush than I have with Conquest.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the way that the maps are configured is a little bit more towards Rush than it is Conquest. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're fun to play on Conquest. Mm-hmm. But I think they just put a little bit more time in. I think the biggest map that I enjoy for Rush is Albor's Mountain. The way that they designed that was just perfect for Rush. It was really well designed for that.
Hikon, you played that a little earlier. Not Rush, but how do you like that map? We'll talk about it more later.
I love that map. The snow and the snow cap, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just so much, how, what's the word? Just natural looking setting. Yeah, so I love it. It's hard to get to, though.
There
Yeah, I get
are some
tired of
areas that are hard to
getting-
get to, yeah.
Yeah.
I get tired of getting hung up on every little pebble as you're going up there. Seems like you get stuck. You're hopping the whole time going up it.
Yeah. You'd be better off walking, though, rather than, ATV would be nice on that map, but with a tank, yeah, it's really hard, unless you follow the road. But you know where the road leads, there's always that mine. So, yeah.
It's
Well,
easy to
speaking
get
of the-
lost.
Speaking of the larger maps, the first week it was out, I know I've seen it in the Battlefield podcast forums where people are saying, well, the maps are too big. And I was an advocate of that the first week of, really, I think they've gone to the point the map is too big. But what I found is that if you're patient at the spawn point, once you take the flag, and wait for the vehicles to spawn back in, they don't spawn in immediately. They usually take a little bit, but wait for those, and then it's better to get around on that. Otherwise, if you're walking from flag to flag, especially on the mountain one, you're ready to go back to close quarters or something.
Well, that's why you got to enjoy the natural setting there.
Yeah.
Enjoy the scenery, walking. You know?
Yeah, except for when a helicopter and a jet, it seems like the jets have been more accurate with their machine gun fire, and they see everywhere.
Gunship especially.
Yeah, that too.
Well, that's because on the jets they increased the damage that the machine guns do to infantry, so it's a lot easier to kill soldiers on the ground now with a jet, which is frustrating if you're on the ground. It's nice if you're flying.
Yep.
But
Oh yeah.
let's see. They also had some other fixes, like the bug where the squad leader wasn't chosen when the current squad leader left. Now, I don't know if that's related to to that bug that we encountered, where you get into a squad at the beginning of the round and everyone is squad leader, but nobody is. I don't know if this is the bug. I think it might be.
It only happens when the game will automatically sort into squads.
Yeah.
You'd have to leave and recreate the squad for the actual squad leader options to pop up, where everyone else thought they were the squad leader.
It was great. Yeah.
It was just a mess. So I hope so. I haven't actually tried it because I haven't played in like 2 days.
I played today a little earlier. I haven't encountered it, but it could just be that it hasn't happened because I haven't been on the right type of server or whatever. But
Right.
they also fixed it so that the MK131A3, that automatic shotgun now uses flechette rounds in Gunmaster for premium members. Somehow non-premium members that was already fixed for. So it's weird how they must have things separated. So I guess premium members were stuck.
I'm glad that they got rid of the frag rounds and changed it to flechette. That'll help that progression through the shotguns go a little bit faster.
Yeah. And there's also some other bug with Squad Rush on Sharkey Peninsula. Must have been very specific. So they fixed that as well. I suppose the other big news in the last 2 weeks, of course, was it is now the 10th anniversary for Battlefield as a franchise.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff at battlefield.com if you want to look into that. It's they're doing a week-long celebration. They're showing some classic trailers of some of the old games like 1942 and BF Vietnam and all that stuff. Plus, they had Battlefield 3 on for, what, $10 the other day?
$10 yesterday, or the day before.
It was just for one day, I think, but that's a pretty appealing price.
That's
for
pretty,
a game that's normally going for, what, I think it's $40 right now? Knocked it down to 10.
That's awesome. I would have bought it.
Okay. Let's see what else they got. They've got a Wake Island Dog Tag Challenge.
My favorite map.
What is that about?
I don't know.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it.
What they say is that in the coming week, which it says next week, so I assume that's this coming week. We're recording this on Saturday, so they're going to launch that Wake Island Dog Tag Challenge, where they ask PC players to compete against Xbox 360 and PS3 players to reach a specific number of game rounds on this legendary map. So it's really just about playing on the map.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be more details to follow, but I guess what it is just sort of a show off between the three different systems. So
do we get
anything? Are they doing that because not many people are playing Wake Island anymore?
I don't know. I think it's because Wake Island is sort of the quintessential Battlefield map because it's been around.
Yeah.
Now they never put it into the Bad Company, but they did have it obviously in 1942 and Battlefield 2.
And 3. So
1943 and even 2142.
Was there a 124 one? I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it was all frozen over. It was this winter tundra.
It was custom made by a community member, wasn't it? And then included in a patch or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I haven't played 2142, so not that long anyways.
But I wonder if they're going to do something like they did in 1943, where each system had to complete so many things before they unlocked something. For 1943, it was they had to get so many kills before they unlocked Coral Sea or Coral Coast, or whatever it was.
Yeah, they must they have a way of tracking separate on the different systems how many people are playing on what map over a given time.
So what's this task they're talking about? PC players to complete against Xbox 360 and PS3 players to reach a specific number of game of rounds.
Yeah,
so they have to play certain.
They didn't say how many or whatever, but. Or what the prize is, I suppose. But I guess the idea is just to play Wake Island next week. And only Wake Island. I don't know, it gets a little monotonous. I like Wake Island, but...
I like it.
Maybe not all the time.
Yeah.
Lots of other stuff also if you stay tuned to their Facebook channel, YouTube, Instagram, all of that stuff. Each day until September 28th, they will celebrate their our proud Battlefield heritage. So should be kind of cool. They're going to do an interview too with Lars Gustafsson, who
cool.
has been around at DICE
For a
with the
long
Battlefield
time.
franchise since the beginning. I think they said that he's been involved in every single iteration of Battlefield since Codename Eagle.
Wow.
So,
I played that.
which is funny because there's a handful of people from DICE that are always in the press, right? Obviously, the community managers. We've got Roly the Poly, who's visible a lot on Twitter and things like that.
Yep.
So, but obviously, there's a lot more work and people working there than the handful that we hear from all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Let's see. I like this. If you go to the Battlefield blog, they have a poll there right now about what your favorite Battlefield game is. Why don't we go around for you guys, starting with you, Tim. What's your favorite Battlefield game so far?
I think BF2 is my favorite one so far, just because I just put so much time into it. It's where I met all of you guys from, and it's where the podcast started from. And just a lot of good times on there. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed playing 1942 and Vietnam and all the other games, but BF2's got a lot of good memories.
What about you, Sean?
Yeah, as far as the memories, Battlefield 2, that's like Tim said, that's where we kind of all gather together and start to, hang out together. But I like to play the latest and greatest. And the last time I went into Battlefield 2, which has been a long time ago, is, I miss having the destruction and all that you have in the later iterations of it. But as far as the top game, Battlefield 3, that's the latest and greatest. That's the one I'm playing. I'm not going back to Bad Company 2 or Battlefield 2 anymore. So, but yeah, there's that history. So to say what one was the best, I mean, there's things I liked about Battlefield 2, some of the maps they came out with that you don't see in Battlefield 3, and it would be nice to see some of those in, if it's in Battlefield 4 or whatever, some of those older maps, bigger maps that they had back then. But, I like what's out now.
And what about you, He? I know you played a lot of Battlefield 2, probably more than any of us.
I don't want to sound touchy-feely, but yeah, Battlefield 2, same reason with Sean and Tim too. That's where we met and started podcast, and yeah, and I put a lot of hours into that game.
Yeah.
So
What I
it's kind of
found interesting, that's what I voted for on the poll as well, was Battlefield 2. But Battlefield 1942 is actually beating it by, at the time, 6% of the vote. So,
okay.
which is kind of cool. I think a lot of people, there's still a lot of stuff going on with all those old games. We played Battlefield 2 not too long ago, but it's certainly been an interesting journey of in the Battlefield franchise as a whole. So it's been pretty cool. We'll talk about Armored Kill in just a moment.
This is the Battlefield Podcast. No wires needed. www.battlefieldpodcast.com.
So Armored Kill, now it's been out. Actually, it's still not out to the general public, is it? Unless you're a premium member of some sort, or a PS3 member. So I guess it's coming out next Tuesday, I believe, on the 25th, for the unwashed masses. That's
So sorry, we're gonna have to close down the podcast. We can't even talk about it yet.
Oh no, then we can talk about it. In fact,
For the premiums.
we should start talking about it, and we'll go through the vehicles one at a time, and we'll start off with the biggest one that there is. As soon as this thing doesn't crash.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we'll start off by talking about the AC-130 Gunship, probably the most anticipated new vehicle in Armored Kill, just because it's never really been done like that. It was touted as a vehicle that could swing the tide of the battlefield. And what do you guys think so far? We know that they've made some tweaks to it, so we'll keep that in mind. But what are your opinions on the Gunship?
I don't think it's still a formidable adversary yet for the battlefield. It still seems to not have the kick that they made it seem like it was going to have. I still think there needs to be the tweaking before it actually becomes something that can turn the battle for the team that has control of it. I just haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen a game shift, dramatically because of one team possessing the AC-130, the other team not.
Have you not been on a flag where they are bombarding with the gunship? Wow, it is like fire from heaven, man. It's just bombs going. It's just explosions going off everywhere. Machine gun fire. I played a few rounds where it's like, and the guys I game with a lot, they say the same thing. Oh, I can't believe it. That gunship is overpowered, and it needs to be toned down because, man, if they localize the machine gun and that cannon fire on one flag where you're at, it's hard to get out of there and survive.
But that's the thing is you need to have a team of two people working as one and working together and talking to localize fire on the area that needs to have concentration on. But I haven't been with a group of people that have been able to communicate well and organize the AC-130 the way that it should.
Well,
yeah, I agree with that. I'm not sure how they'll do that with a squad of 4 or 5 people. It's kind of hard to do that if you got 2 or 3 of them.
Voice chat back, like Battlefield 2.
well, yeah, you're right. I think the biggest advantage of having the gunship is when the enemy is clustered around one area, so that you can wipe out lots of them at the same time. That's probably why the gunship seems more overpowered in Rush, because you have a fairly specific target. I mean, when you're attacking, you know that there's 2 places on the map where probably 80% of the enemy team is going to be in a certain radius, whereas on Conquest, especially on the large maps, it's not always that clustered. And you still have to find enemies. And I do notice, though, that on Armored Shield, where there isn't any jets available, it makes more of a difference because it is harder to take it down without those jets. So that's for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Now, hopefully, with the patch, that'll be fixed. I haven't played with post patch, so hopefully that has changed.
Well, it seems
but
like
I really like it when I'm in the gun seat or the gunship seat. But if I'm down on the ground, man, oh man, I don't like it.
it seems like one of those cases when I'm down on the ground, it's up forever and keeps raping us. And when I'm actually in the gunship, first of all, it's always busy. If you're on a full server, someone else is always in it. But then when I do get in, we get shot down within, about 5 seconds of me getting in there. So.
Well, speaking of shutting down, I think I want to see AC-130 gunship being repaired by itself, like other vehicles, if you're in there so long. I don't know.
Even having like an unlock system, like having having perks, maybe like the repair perk or even the fire extinguisher perk.
Yeah,
something like that. Something that doesn't increase the power of the firearms at all,
right?
But just kind of helps increase the longevity of the lifespan.
Right. How the jet flies over longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and I didn't even realize there was a machine gun turret on top until I was in a jet and I got shot down by it. It was like, I didn't even know they had that there. How do I get to it? So I started pushing buttons
I'm on that same boat. I just noticed like 3 days ago that I accidentally pressed F2. I'm like, number 1 and number 2. You switch between those numbers. And I accidentally pressed it. I'm like, where is this thing? I was in the cannon seat.
Yeah.
Well, I think that sometimes there are people who don't realize that that's what's there. So there, it all depends. Some people, like you said the other day, I think somebody didn't realize that you had flares as both people in the gunship have flares. So really, there's a combined, total of 6 gun types, I suppose, right? You've got 2 positions, so 2 people, 2 positions each, plus flares each. So
see, I didn't know about the flares.
Yeah, just like in a jet, you just press X or whatever it is.
Yeah, I seen them, but I thought it was just happening automatically.
No. Oh. You have to pop them, and then you have to wait for them to reload as well. So
what's really frustrating is when both guys hit flare at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that happens every time that somebody doesn't communicate, right?
But it looks pretty on the map.
Yeah, it does look very pretty.
Yeah,
the effect is great.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we'll probably hear from a few people who I think opinions on the gunship are probably the strongest out of everything. There's people who absolutely hate it. There's people who say stop whining and play properly because there's certainly enough ways to take it down. I don't know. I don't think, like you said earlier, Tim, I don't think it turns the tide of the battle so much. But in Conquest, certainly that flag, whatever flag controls the gunship, is still probably one of the most popular targets around.
Yes.
Just to have it. Even if you don't get many kills with it, or if it's not that effective for your team, you certainly don't want the other team to have it and have a bunch of good people in it, plus some good jets protecting it. Then you're in real trouble.
Right, yeah.
So
it's funny, though, because that is usually the hot point of the map, is wherever the gunship location, or the gunship flag is located.
Yeah, and they've
yeah.
positioned them sort of so that they're more or less central to the map.
Which is surprising, because I really thought that's what was going to happen. I thought it was going to be always in the middle of the map. But you have things like Bandar, where it's chucked all the way in the back of the map.
That's true.
It's definitely not the first thing that you think about, because I'm always thinking in my head, I've got to get to the gunship point, but I always find myself going to what's closer to me. Because sometimes it's really hard to get out there. It's just so far away.
Not enough vehicles.
Yeah, let's talk about the vehicles
Yeah.
in a second here. We're going to start talking about the first vehicle that's been introduced, and that is the new tank destroyers. There's obviously one for each side, so we'll get to those in just a second. So tank destroyers, both sides get one. You've got the M1128 mobile gun system for the U.S. and the S2, S5 Sprute for the Russians. And they are basically that hybrid between tank and APC. They're lower armored, they're quicker, but they pack a really powerful gun. They have 5 seats, 4 of which are completely useless. And they seem to be... They're very cool. First of all, there's lots of them on each of the maps, especially on 64-player maps. There's lots of them. They're all over the place. They're fast. I tend to get shot down by them when I'm flying any kind of helicopter. There's some people out there who are really, really good at somehow aiming these up into the sky and taking me out when I'm in a little bird or something. They do seem to have a stronger turret than the main battle tank does. That's for sure. They have a number of unlocks as well. Obviously, they've got the tow, so they're similar in that regard. There's a couple different cannons, cannon shell types.
It's a nice hybrid between an IFV and a main battle tank.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is fast. I find myself hung up on stuff all the time because I go to stop and I can't stop quick enough, or I go backwards too fast and get hung up on a wall.
They are easy to
Or
get
stuck
them
in a
stuck. Yeah, it's the same as I tend to get stuck in or it's easier to get stuck in an APC, especially if you drive over something and think, oh, I can make that, and then you get stuck there, your tires are spinning. But they are fun to race around the desert with. They are pretty quick.
Yes.
I don't know I haven't really heard many major complaints about them one way or the other. Seem to be pretty good.
I don't think so. I think they're balanced out pretty well. They're stronger, like you mentioned, but the armor's a lot weaker than an MBT. And I think with the right weapon configuration, they're deadly. Even tank destroyer versus tank destroyer, I've noticed is as long as you have the correct weapon configuration, you can take one out in seconds. And I found that happened to me when I first got in one, and I didn't have any of the unlocks. I was dying left and right. I wasn't able to keep up with the other guys just because they already had the tow unlock and the guided shell. So,
What unlocks do you prefer? Right now, I have the tow equip as the.
I like the tow, smoke, and reactive armor.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what I have equipped. While smoke's necessary, you absolutely have to use that, in my opinion.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
Sometimes I wish, the first unlock is like a machine gun. I sometimes
Yeah.
wish I still had that because it is harder to kill infantry with it, I find sometimes. But
It is, because it's not like an IFV where you have those six rounds with some splash damage, so you don't have to be as direct with the main round like you do with the tank destroyer. Having the first unlock being machine gun was great because you were able to rack up some points killing infantry and then increase your points for the following unlocks.
I don't care as much for the second seat for the machine gun where you're out this little window and you can only go so far. That's
Yeah.
kind of annoying.
that's what I meant by
that-
useless.
Yeah.
And nobody goes in anyways. I mean, the driver just takes off after he or she goes in and then just takes off.
Yeah, they need to.
It'll be great for transport.
I don't know what the answer is, but I think they need to do something with it because, yeah, it is only good for transport, those other 4 seats. In a main battle tank, all 3 people working together have something to do. Yeah, you can say that if you're in the 3rd seat, sometimes it's a little boring because all you get to do is target
Just sit there and
things, but
Yeah.
at least you have something to do. And when you're working together as a cohesive team in a tank, you can really do some damage. In the tank destroyers, yeah, I guess you could shuttle a bunch of infantry over to a flag, which is good. But like you said, that never happens. People just take off, especially at the start of a round.
Yeah, but that's what they're actually designed for. The same idea as what the APCs were designed for. They were designed to deal damage, but yet drop off a bunch of guys at a flag and cap.
But doesn't the APC have a secondary gunner position?
It does.
So at least you have that. So you could say that in that case you have. I wish that they put that on tank destroyer, but maybe it would get too powerful then.
It probably will.
probably will.
Yeah, it would just
And
deal
the
too
people will
much damage.
complain. Yeah.
All right.
No, I've come to the realization that once somebody gets in the tank driver's seat, they forget about everybody else on the map and they're just going out to kill the enemy. Forget their teammates.
Well,
That's what I'm saying. He or she takes off before everybody gets in.
let's talk about a vehicle where that has to be the case, because you're forced upon that very thing. So the mobile artillery vehicles are also new, and I think they are on all of the 4 armored kill maps. There's usually 1 per side. And that's what I meant by the comment just before this, is that even though it appears like it has 2 seats, only 1 person can operate the thing at a time, and you actually have to switch from driver to gunner seat in order to fire the rockets. So you have to drive yourself to a location, park, and then launch up to 6 rockets. You sort of have an aiming reticule that's similar to the M320 or any of those grenade launchers, I guess, just with a larger range. They're fun to use.
Seeing this video, I've never seen this thing move this fast. When I get in it, I can walk faster than it drives.
It's all about going downhill and being pushed by something.
They
That
can't go
maybe-
uphill.
Maybe you can
Yeah.
explain to me
The
how
part
you
now,
fire. How you fire with that thing.
Well,
I'm not sure.
You try to aim. You aim in the general direction of where you want to shoot at, and then there is those little lines. And I think, Tim, you said each line is about 50 meters.
About 50 meters.
Around that.
The our buddy Level Cap did a great tutorial on how to efficiently use the artillery system, and I'm gonna kind of rip off his video and kind of enlighten you guys. You've got the little reticule, but it doesn't really seem to help. You have to keep a lot of attention put onto the reticule to kind of figure out where it's going. It's a lot easier. Open up your map, open up your mini map, and when the rocket hits the ground, it has a little almost like ripple effect on the map, showing you where the rocket hit.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does.
No, I thought they were supposed to do that.
Yeah, they talked about that before Armored Kill came out. So what you do is you fire one rocket, and you figure out where it hit. So then that helps you figure out if you need to, up pitch or down pitch, and then you fire again. Make sure you're in the right spot, and then you can just unload. So I have all the unlocks. So I like to run with the standard rockets, and then you can run with the infantry rocket. It's like the airburst rocket. So what you can do is you can fire all 6 and fire 2 more, and it's deadly.
I forgot about
absolutely
those.
did.
I unlocked some stuff earlier today. Actually, I was playing. I got my assignment completed, the 10 kills, which took me forever. But I did get 7 kills in that one round with it. And yeah, you do have to kind of... I didn't know about the mini-map. Do you have to actually open the map? Like,
Yeah, if you
Okay.
hit M,
Yeah,
hit M.
that's
and
why
then
I
you'll
didn't see it, because I didn't
Yeah.
do that.
Right, because you're launching over 200 meters, and your minimap's not going to show that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just hit M, and then just pay attention. You can really just watch the corner, figure out where you're going to shoot, and then just watch where the little ripple happens.
Well, the other trick that I was using is that Hikon was in the...
Yeah, exactly.
He was in the gunship, so I was basically shooting at a flag where I thought that there was enemies there, because it was the only flag that they had at the time. And he was able to tell me sort of how much further I was out. And, if you can see it, it's okay, because you can kind of walk the rockets in. You can see where they land and then adjust up or down, whatever. But if you can't see, and there's a couple times where I was shooting across a mountain on Albor's Mountain, across a ridge, and I couldn't actually see the target. So Hikon had said, okay, it's about another 50 meters or 200 meters further. And you just kind of make tweaks like that. It is a big target, though. People
Oh,
try
yeah.
to take you out
Especially when
a
you're
lot.
going over a mountain, I think. Especially that.
Yeah. So you don't last in it very long, at least in my experience. It's fun. I don't think it's overpowered, so I think they did a pretty good job with that. And I keep forgetting to look at the unlocks, so that's some good advice too. I need to look at... I unlocked a bunch of stuff with it earlier. I need to actually take a look
Yeah.
at what that is
I
and
think-
what I should use.
I think the best configuration for the mobile artillery is to have the standard rockets to run with anti-aircraft rockets. Which
So how
are
do
great
those
because
work?
Those work the exact same way that an Igla, or even if you're running like in a Tunguska or an LAVAD. Same idea. You switch over to whatever your second weapon is button, and then it just puts you in this secondary camera, and you can track aircrafts. And the range is really good, and it definitely helps deter jets and helicopters from coming at you. So I've found that running with the normal 6 rockets, the anti-aircraft and smoke, or they have the defense smoke. What is it? It's incendiary smoke.
Right.
So like if you're sitting in the rocket seat, the gunner seat, and you're shooting, and all of a sudden some guy comes up and starts blowtorching you, you can switch over to the driver's seat real quick and hit your smoke button, and it kills him right away. I've also done it where I've driven up into a flag, and there was a couple guys behind cover, and I sat right next to him and popped the smoke, and it killed them all.
I had an
it's
interesting...
possible.
That would have been useful earlier when I was playing. I was in the gunner seat of the mobile artillery, and there's a bug in the game, I guess, where I've never seen this before. But I was an engineer. Keep in mind, engineers can pick up C4 or mines and stuff. So I'm sitting there, I'm shooting at stuff. All of a sudden, I see on my screen, hold down R to pick up whatever the message is.
So
I'm like,
yeah.
this can't be good. A split second later, boom. So somebody had put C4 on it, and I guess me being inside, it was suggesting that I go pick it up. I probably should have run. But so going from the mobile artillery, which is I think one of the largest vehicles, ground vehicles on the map, we'll go talk about one of the smallest ones on the map that was also introduced in Armored Kill. So the quad bike is back. I think the quad bike made its first appearance, was it in Special Forces in Battlefield 2?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was also in the Bad Company games. So they've brought that back. It's a fun little thing. It's fast. If you're watching the video at all, you can see that this is just some footage on Armored Shield that I recorded earlier today, just racing around the fields. I was trying to get to Hikon, who was over somewhere. I didn't know where he was. I don't know the maps that well yet, but it's fun to just race it around because you can jump and explode depending on where you land. So it's a pretty entertaining
Explosion.
little vehicle.
They should give you points for the amount of airtime you get in those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Style points,
Looking at
right?
that video.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's really just a small little vehicle. It's got a passenger seat so someone can sit on the back. It's just to get you on some of these large maps from point A to B a little bit more quickly without having to find a jeep or a vehicle or anything like that. Of course, it blows up very easily when it's being shot at. There's no cover whatsoever, but it's fun.
Or
Smash
you
it with a
crash
rock.
into one of the rocks. Flying
The only problem is if you're riding on the back seat and it's not with somebody that you're gaming with, is, well, you got to pay special attention when they get close, because if they jump off, man, it's still going and there's no driver.
Didn't that happen to you when you were my passenger a few days ago? Somebody, I don't remember who it was, might have been Chris, but somebody was sitting on the back and I was racing around like I tend to do on these things, and then I jumped off and it crashed into a container. I never told my passenger to get out. But yeah, it's a fun little vehicle. I don't know, is there a whole lot else to say about it?
I think they need to have more of them spawn into these big maps, though.
Well, I think one of the big issues with it, actually, well, not an issue. It's just what it is. If you're the passenger in the back, you can't enter third-person camera view, so you can't really see where you're going, like you said. But and also, you cannot shoot a rocket from the passenger seat and make it jump. I tried. It hurts. It doesn't work.
Can you be able to fix it from the second seat? Do you know?
I don't believe so, but I never tried.
Just like the other.
I don't think you can reach down. Plus, I don't suggest that you take that torch and put it between your legs to repair it. So I don't know if that's a good idea.
I think it should be more stronger, strength-wise.
It's not bad. If you saw the clip that when I was driving it, it held up pretty good. If you do hit solid objects, though, it tends to.
Yeah.
Oh, immediately, yeah, blows up.
Yeah. I think it should left with whatever the percentage might be. I think it's kind of weak, but let's leave it at
And
that.
they don't want to overpower it, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the maps. There's 4 new maps. The first one we'll talk about is Alborz Mountain. So Alborz Mountain is the snow map that everyone's been waiting for. It's pretty large in scale, of course, like all the Armored Kill maps. It does look, like Hequan alluded to earlier, it looks very nice. You just have to be careful not to fly into mountains, fall off cliffs, run into big rocks. It's got this
Or antenna towers.
yeah, it's got this cool little it's got this cool lake in the bottom that's half frozen, which is, I don't know, it's got a nice balance. It's a huge map. There's areas where I found myself in the other day that I was like, I'd never even been over here by this flag before. So
Yeah, it's a beautiful map.
Yeah, there's one map. There's one flag. It's I think it's G. It's tucked away in a cave.
yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was like, I went there for the first time a couple days ago. I was like, well, I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah,
I found out today, for that matter.
it's
the-
cool.
I guess the only issue that I have with it is, because of the narrow passages, roadways getting to the different flags, is that, boy, you get down in there and a heavy vehicle comes through there or something, man, you're dead. Trying to climb up the side of the mountain, yeah, you can't climb up it quick enough.
It's great for AT mines.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
can see that.
I've seen a lot of people using there. Vehicles tend to slide down on snow as well. If you're driving a quad on snow, it does feel like you're driving on slick surfaces. If you start fishtailing, you're in for some trouble. I've played this on Rush. I quite like this on Rush, actually, because
Yeah,
there
this is a
are,
good.
right? There's some great options as a defender. You can try to defend the narrow mountain passes. You can try to climb up a peak somewhere and snipe at the attackers. It seems very difficult if you are an attacker to get anywhere with it. But
Was that jet video, was you recording me? That looks like the way I play.
hey, I didn't crash. I got shot. I thought I did pretty well. I took down a helicopter and a jet in that clip, actually.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I forgot you could look.
Wow.
You could look 180 degrees in the pilot cockpit. I forgot about that.
Yes. Well, not 180 degrees, I guess sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not 180, but there, round.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That's why I keep getting shut down by these jets.
That's not why you keep getting shot down.
Yeah, I usually do is
No,
go to the outside view. I don't use the 180. I use the outside view, and that seems to be good enough for what I'm doing.
Savram in the chat brought up a good point. The sun is really bright in that map.
Yeah.
It's a little frustrating that there's a lot of glare, especially like in flying. Using the sun to your advantage is a tactic, but I think there's a little too much sun.
Well, and if you're an attacker, or if you're heading towards some of the flags and you're going uphill, and you've got white mountains with snow, obviously, and you've got the sun, it can be a little bit difficult for sure.
Your sunglasses. That's the next unlock.
A premium member unlock sunglasses? I could just see that. I could see that happening. Okay, let's talk about the next map then. Next map we're going to talk about is Bandar Desert, which is the largest map ever made in Battlefield. So this was the one that was, I think, released or mentioned first in any kind of coverage of Armored Kill. It's supposedly the largest map, even though it doesn't seem like it when you're flying around and the mountains come out of nowhere. What I forgot in that clip is that when you're upside down, up is down and down is up. So, and this is the one that you mentioned earlier, Tim, where the flag with that controls the gunship is tucked away way out in the corner. It's sort of a triangular map, really.
Yes.
With G at the precipice, is that the right name? I don't know. The peak of the triangle, the pointy end. Don't get into. I know the triangle has 3 pointy ends, but you've got G on one, and then you've got the 2 base spawn points for the 2 teams on the other. But this map actually, I find fairly versatile. There's a lot of open terrain. There's a lot of air dogfighting happening on this map. But there's also some room for infantry to play around because there's 3 flags within, let's call it walking distance of each other. That, for those that didn't get into a vehicle, which happens more often than I'd like in Armored Kill. But
I find that I'm in battle more in that city area than anywhere else, and I enjoy that. I don't really get out in the desert area that much, but get into that little city area. Man, it's fun times.
Well, you're more of a ground and pound player anyways, aren't you?
Yeah, well, especially with Battlefield 3, the jets fly differently. I just can't do very well in the jets. I use it for transport. I know, I'm going to get spam for that. Flame.
One of those guys, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what it's there for.
All right. Pretty decent map. I think next up is my favorite map of the new maps. It's called Armored Shield, and it's the one without jets, which I don't know if that has something to do with me liking it most. Actually, I think the reason I like Armored Shield the best is because of its natural green and lush terrain.
It's very lush. It's like
Yeah.
this farmland fields to it.
There's hay bales.
It's pretty, and I feel
I
like
love
you
those
utilize a
hay
lot
bales.
of the camo that we have. We never use. This is the map where you can definitely use some of the camo.
Yes.
I ran into a guy who was an engineer, and he was hiding behind a hay bale and laying down, and I couldn't find him because he was blending in with the bush and the grass and the hay bale, just perfectly. Where I couldn't find him. It was really neat to see the actual utilization of the camo.
It's also a fairly large map. In this case, if you're on foot, it's a little bit more frustrating, I find. There are 2 flags that are pretty close together in Conquest mode. But other than that, you have wide open fields. You're just cannon fodder for anything in the air or anybody that's sniping somewhere. There's a few water towers that I wish that they would let us climb up on.
Yeah. There's no ladders on them.
Or
They're
shoot
just-
down.
They're just there.
Yeah, or shoot them down, I guess. Just for snipers to be able to perch somewhere. would be cool without having to get somebody to drop you off in a helicopter, because you all know how well that works in a public server. You get in a little bit like, dude, drop me off over there. No, he's going on a suicide run.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I enjoy this map.
I want to say I love the boat. The boat in the canal that goes 5 miles per hour is an awesome part of the map.
There's a boat.
I'm being really sarcastic. I don't understand why we have a boat in this map. Like the
There's a
canal,
boat?
I'm not sure if it's like an
Yeah.
irrigation. It's supposed to like represent an irrigation system of some sort.
yeah.
But the boat seems like it's dragging the engine on the bottom of this canal system. I really, really wish they would have introduced jet skis. Just for that map, you know how they had in Special Forces those stand-up jet skis that you could use. That would have been a lot better for that map, I think.
Well, the
just
boat
because
is slower than what we're used to.
boat-
I don't know why, but it is.
the boat is almost the width of the canal. It's just like it's like a tugboat moving through. It's really odd.
Now, speaking of that, though, that is a good hiding spot if with the heavy armor coming in there, is that you can get down underneath that bridge and hide out there for a while until they go away and come back out.
It's a great tool to use if you want to get on the other side of the map and avoid the armor battles happening. It seems like the waterway has been neglected, just because where it's located on the map. So if you want to get from like the U.S. start point to the other side of the map, like let's say E or D in that area, you can use the boat to kind of sneak around.
Yeah, I don't know why the boat is slower. It doesn't really make any sense, but
So it has a trolling motor on it, huh?
Yeah.
Go fishing.
Tug, 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 tug.
A relaxing Sunday drive.
Yeah. As bombs are going off around you.
well, that's the thing. It is a nice a tool that you want to use to get around, to flank the enemy. The canal I'm talking about, but the boat is just, even if the boat was normal speed like what we're used to, it would be better. I don't know why it's slower. I mean, jet skis would be great. Maybe we'll see those in the future. I can't imagine that we will, just because I don't think the other DLCs, just judging by their titles, lend themselves to jet skis. But I mean, we don't really know. It could still happen. But I like this map a lot, actually. It's quite a bit of fun. One more map to talk about. This is the night map. Everyone's been asking for a night map, and Death Valley. Here it comes. So Death Valley, night map, even though it's more of a blue map than a dark map. What do you guys think?
This is the one that I liked the least when it started. But as I played on it more, I enjoy it more. But definitely it wasn't my favorite map when it first came out.
Yeah.
Mostly I think
reminds me
because
of
of it
that-
being dark.
It reminds me of that map where Special Forces in Battlefield 2, where it's really, really dark.
Yeah, Midnight something,
Yeah.
where they had the river and then land on each side. Yeah. Which I like that map, but for some reason this one, it took me a little bit more to get used to it.
I think it's not quite dark, that's why. Night vision goggles? Anybody?
Well, I don't know. I need to play it some more. It does grow on you, but
Justify night vision goggles.
has anyone tried the night vision scope on this?
Yeah.
Does
it
it- do
works.
they work?
It helps.
Yeah.
I mean, but to a certain extent. There's just enough ambient light from the moon where you don't really need it.
Right.
You can see guys, but it's nice to use because it does kind of heighten the sense of.
Well, it is good if they're in the shadows or if they're in some of those buildings that's dark, is that you can see them better than without it.
This is one of those maps that has one of those tall construction buildings that you can land on top and snipe from there. That's pretty neat. But this is also one that I think that if you are just running around on foot, that it's not too bad.
No.
You can
No,
get
it's
around.
not,
In
'cause
fact,
you're hiding from
well, yeah,
darkness.
and the terrain itself is quite hilly, so it's not that easy to drive around in armor. Speaking of driving around in armor, of course, one of the new game modes, or the only new game mode that was introduced in Armor Kill, is Tank Superiority Mode. What are you guys'
Wah, wah, wah.
I don't know why. I don't know why they brought that up, but I'm not a huge tank killer. So if you're good in tank, yeah, I'm sure you're all for it. But
I've played a few rounds, and yeah, it's nothing that I need to play again.
I'm disappointed by it just because I thought it was going to be more than it is. It really just seems to be a conquest map with one flag and more armor around it.
It's a javelin fest.
Well, yeah, and you still have to get within a fairly small radius of the flag, so you got armor converging on this one point, and I don't know. I don't see the point.
But with the timing of the smoke and the javelins, is that when I played it, is trying to get javelin kills is almost next to impossible because they got the smoke going, and unless you're timed with somebody else that has done a javelin, and then you're waiting and saying, okay, now I can fire mine because his smoke is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't dissipate it quick enough to where you're able to get as many javelin kills as you would think.
Yeah.
So you just waste a lot of time.
And I should say,
I mean, when I played it, I think I got like 4 or 5 kills in the whole round. I'm thinking, this is a waste of my time.
I've only played it a few times, and it was pretty chaotic on the one time, and the other time there was 3 people going after the flag, and that was about it. So I don't know. It's underwhelming.
Teamwork.
Like,
Teamwork.
I don't know what. I'm not sure what we were hoping for either, or me in particular, but Gunmaster was sort of a standout feature of close quarters, right? It's very well defined, it's difficult, it's rewarding. I don't find tank superiority to be any of those things, but that's just my opinion.
Gunmaster is way
In my
better.
head, I saw a King of the Hill with a bunch of tanks, and it just seems like there's always more infantry than there is armor. And I always feel like I have to focus more on the infantry than I do on the tanks, and I get killed.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it just would have been everyone was in a piece of armor, I think it would have been a little bit more interesting. But it just, I don't know. I'm not a fan. I don't like it.
You know, after playing a couple rounds of tank superiority, I'm just going back to the close quarter every single time.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's that. I don't think that many people play it. I asked on Twitter this morning, and most of the responses were, "It's okay. I haven't played it a whole lot. I'm going to do it because I need the 50 wins for the medal."
right.
So I guess that's a good
Maybe
enough reason to play it as well.
That's the only reason probably people will play, for the medal or something.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're not going to go back.
I also don't see it very much on servers. Gunmaster, there was a lot of close quarter servers where it was mixed in, 4 rounds of Conquest Domination, 1 round of Gunmaster, which kind of mixes it up nicely. I haven't really seen that with Armored Kill servers. So.
Well, and as soon as I go to the tank superiority, I leave that server and go somewhere else.
Well, maybe that's why servers aren't running it. Not enough people are playing it. Overall, obviously, Conquest and Rush. I haven't played any Team Deathmatch. I alluded to it a few days ago that I think Armored Kill might be more fun in Rush than Conquest, but I wouldn't say I've changed my opinion, but it's been adjusted a little bit as I've played it more. And I think that's just a matter of getting to know the maps and knowing what's where. Rush, I find, is easier if you don't know what's going on because it's fairly linear. You have one direction of play for the most part, whereas with Conquest, you can get lost on these maps if you don't know what's going on yet. So,
Well, and that's the
It is a
key
huge
is
map.
that people need to remember that this map pack is called Armored Shield or Armored Kill, and that that's what
not
it's
called.
about. It's about
sorry.
yeah, it's about armor. And sometimes I have to remind myself when I'm playing it, and all this armor's coming at me.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I don't have, there's no way out of this, and here I am standing inside of a building, getting blasted, and it's like, well, this is the game. This is what this map pack is for.
Yeah, when you see it, that's right. It's almost, you know what, maybe I should wait here for a few seconds until that tank respawns and get in it instead of just wandering off towards the nearest flag on foot.
Yeah, because if you're out in the middle of the field, you might as well, if nobody picks you up, you're going to be dead.
Yeah.
It was snipe.
Somebody spots you, and then if there's a tank going by, there's no way to get away from it.
Very true. Do we want to take any? Are there any comments from the chat about Armor Kill? Sorry, I don't have the chat open because I'm running out of screens.
No, it's
Frostbite 2X said AK would be more fun in BF2K.
I think that'd be a little overwhelming if we had the concept of armored kill on the back to Karkan maps. I think that'd be a little too much. I feel like the armor's just
a lot of places to
right.
destroy.
Yeah, none of the buildings would be standing after.
Yeah, it'll be all to crumbles.
Yeah, that's true. All right. This show's running pretty long, isn't it? It is. So we got one quick tip for you guys. This kind of came out of me trying to get some better frames per second last week after some streaming that was extremely frustrating for me because it was so slow.
Battlefield Podcast. Spotlight of the Week.
This is something that's been around for a long time, and probably a lot of people are familiar with it. But if you're not, NVIDIA has a great optimization guide for Battlefield 3. It's sort of a lengthy URL, so I customized it into tinyurl.com/BF3 optimization guide. And basically what it is it goes through in detail as to what each of the graphics settings in Battlefield 3 actually mean and how expensive they are. So what they mean by that is that where's your best gain for turning something down, and which things have relatively little impact, or which things have the most impact on the graphical quality of it. Because you want to try to, if you're trying to get more frames per second, you want to try to do it with the least amount of quality loss, right? It's easy to make a game run at a lot of FPS and look like crap. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, we want to have it still look good as best as we can given the hardware. So
right, you want that the peak optimization with the prettiness.
And I mean, they give a guideline of like, if you can keep 60 frames per second, then you're doing quite well. So I made a couple of tweaks. I can't remember which they are, but there's 2 points, 2 of the graphic settings that if you turn them off will get you the biggest bang for your buck, or if you turn them down, I should say. So this isn't NVIDIA specific or anything. If you have an AMD graphics card, it still applies just as well. So,
and then there's a few NVIDIA chipsets that handle the game differently. My 560 Ti Fermis, there's a setting
your audio
to
is
turn.
Oh. Say that again.
My 560 Ti, it handles the game a little differently. There's a setting I need to turn off to get, because I run an SLI. So I have to turn off the A deferred for it to not chug. It's weird. It's just that one setting, and a bunch of other people have had the problem too, even running it at the 560 at in SLI, which is you get anywhere from 80 to 130 frames per second. But as soon as you turn the A deferred on, you drop down to like 30 frames per second.
Yeah, so it's really useful in that case to know what that setting is, that you can get the most out of it without having to sacrifice too much. Sean, you mentioned something at the beginning of the show. That's the network smoothing factor, which is one of the sliders in the settings of Battlefield 3 that most people will look at and be like, what the heck's this? I have no idea. Now, there is some good videos on YouTube. If you search for BF3 network smoothing, there's a couple of good videos that explain what it is and how you can tweak it. I guess a lot of it depends on your internet connection. It has to do with the fact that it's trying to keep you from having a really stuttery experience, like people stuttering by, so that it smooths it out. But I think there is some customization that can be made to get you, have a little bit more stuttering perhaps, but have it be a little bit more accurate as far as who you're hitting when you're hitting them. So a lot of people complain that, I jumped behind the corner and I still got hit. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, you'd mentioned that in the forum and I've run into that quite a bit of where, how could they get me? I was already behind the building when they killed me.
Yeah.
There was we had talked about this before. There's a YouTube video out, a person did a breakdown of, different things in Battlefield and how it plays. And it's interesting because it's one of the games that are out that doesn't deal with the server side information. It's all client side. So someone who has a higher ping will actually kill the guy who has the lower ping. Like you said, Sean, if you jump behind a wall, you're trying to figure out how he got you. It's because in his screen, you're still in front of him. Even on your screen, you're behind the wall.
No, that's not what it is. It's hacks. They're hackers. That's what everybody says. No way, they're cheating.
Well, you get a lot of that. I mean, and a lot of times that is what people will say, and sometimes it's just the way it is. I mean, it is the internet. The guy that just shot you around the corner is 2,000 miles away from you, and shit happens on the internet. It's just the way it is. But it can't hurt to just play with it. Move the slider over to, say, half. By default, it's all the way over to the right, so at whatever the highest setting is. Play around with it a bit and see what it's like. You will notice it being more stuttery, but I think depending on how good your connection is, you can get some benefit from it. It's an interesting little thing to play around with. And YouTube, Google or search for the video on YouTube. There's some good ones out there that explain it.
Now make sure you put in network smoothing, not network spooning.
It is not this network spooning factor. It is something completely different. Okay, what else? Do we have anything else?
I don't think so. I think we're good for this week.
So we're gonna, I don't know, maybe on the next episode, maybe we said we were gonna talk to Daskro again about his thoughts on the armor in Armored Kill. So maybe we'll do that. There's a bit of a discussion in chat about the graphics, especially compared between the PC and the consoles. What do you guys run your settings at? I know, Hikon, you run it on like Ultra now that you have your new computer.
Yeah, like I said, I don't need any time adjusting frame rates or whatever. It's perfectly fine. I don't want to ruin it by touching anything. So it's I get like 75, 80 on a good day, maybe 50 on a bad day, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on what's happening as well. But it definitely is, and like I said, it all started when I was trying to optimize. When we were streaming, live streaming, Tim and I, my frames would drop down to sometimes around 22, 24, and it gets... You do, I know, because you played like that for a long time, and I feel your pain. So tweaking it definitely, even if you lose a little bit of visual quality, I think is a benefit, just to, get a better experience.
So Hikwan, you're not on your Alienware laptop now?
Nope, not anymore when I play anyways.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Still, I suck, though. I don't know why. Maybe it needs a twitch.
I think it's the people you're hanging out with.
Oh. Maybe I need practice with you guys.
In the chat room, Stringer said, when are you getting Dice on the podcast again? We've been trying to get Gustav on the show. I know that President from Battlefield has been talking with him as well, trying to get that sorted out. I don't know when, but if we can get him on the next show, that would be great. I assume that over the last couple of weeks, it just hasn't, it couldn't work out because of obviously the Armored Kill launch, and I can't imagine all the kind of work that stuff's been going on at DICE, especially with tweaking a new release like that. There's always a lot of stuff happening. So hopefully, with things settling down a little bit, and before all the secrecy over the next DLC starts again, we can get him on the show. We also had this is when we did DRMB, but we also should get Roly the Poly back on. He said he had some more anecdotes to share with us. So it's
Roland's great. Roland's a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah, and it's always good to talk to them after a release, because when you talk to them just before release, they pretty much can't talk about anything just in case they reveal something.
There's so many things that they can't talk about, so they'll spill all of the secrets.
When you get Dice on, make sure you get Dice tags for all of us.
We've been trying.
We're trying very hard.
I'm actually starting to... There's this Twitter campaign that we started weeks and weeks and weeks ago, where people have just been tweeting at Zinto to get us some dog tags. But I'm starting to actually... I'm not sure if I still want this, because I was talking to President from Battlefield, though. Sorry, now more people are going to try to knife you. But, he got his, and he said ever since then it's just been awful trying to play, because all people want to do is knife him. So, yeah, I don't know.
Spawn, kill.
All right, well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thanks to the folks in the chat. I don't know, are we going to play some Battlefield after this? You guys want to stick around for a while?
Sounds good.
So, if you're not,
Join us live.
yeah, check us. Find us on Battlelog. I think it's obviously the best way to find out what server we're playing on and all that stuff. So,
Well, hey, if I could put in just a real quick plug, is that some of us have joined together and we've started a server. It's called Action Straza.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think it's STRAZA, and it's we're not getting too many hits yet, but we're still getting some things set up, and it'd be great for a lot of us to get on there. There's only it's a 28 slot, but that's usually a good number to get in there and have some fun.
What do you play on that server? What's the map rotation like?
Right now, we just have the armor killed maps.
Oh, right on.
Going on it.
I actually find that playing with slightly less than 64 players can be more enjoyable on Armor Kill.
Oh, yeah.
32 players or around that range. It's just a little bit less chaotic, and you get more chances to try out some of the new vehicles. So that's good. We'll put the link to the server in the chat once we can find it. And if you want to find us on Battlelog, you can find out where we'll go play on that server right now. Obviously, you can follow us on Twitter at BF Podcast. You can find us on Facebook /Battlefield Podcast, YouTube /Battlefield Podcast. Please subscribe to the channel. We just got partnered with Social Blade, which is... Don't worry, we're not going to put a shit ton of ads on it. It's not about that. But we can now do custom thumbnails, and Tim worked very hard on creating a nicer background for the YouTube channel, which is also nice. I don't know why YouTube doesn't let everybody do that, like the thumbnails and stuff like that. I don't know. It seems
It's frustrating.
it's not like that big of a deal, but to me, that's like the biggest reward for getting partnered. So, we'll be there. You can follow if you see it in the lower thirds, everyone's Twitter handle is right there, and of course we have a Battlelog platoon. If you want to listen to the audio-only version, you can always find that posted at battlefieldpodcast.com or, of course, on iTunes if you search for us there.
But don't try to befriend Ola because he's not accepting any new friends. He's being a snob.
Well, apparently, you can't have more than 100 friends on Battlelog. And apparently it doesn't prevent you from accepting them. Instead, it then starts spamming everyone else by saying that you and the 101st person are friends like a bazillion times in the whatever it's called, the stream.
Thank God I don't have 100
So
friends.
I don't know what's up with that. I think at some point I may have to
Clean out the desk.
Filter.
I may have to unfriend people who are on consoles because I can't play them anyways, but
There you go.
I don't know. We shall see. Hopefully they'll fix that. But if you want to be a friend, just join the Battlefield Podcast platoon. That will work too. Okay, I think that will do it. Thanks everybody for watching live, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. And check out the channel. We'll do some more live streams as well. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll always know what's happening. Thank you, Tim, for joining us.
Of course.
And thank you, Sean, for making it today.
All right, we'll see you.
And thanks, He.
Thanks for the invite.
All right, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.